Hi, my name's Niamh Kirk, and I'm researching representations of Ireland and Irish identity in the diaspora newspapers. So some 70 million people worldwide claim Irish heritage, but in some locations, Irish migration has resulted in a large and highly organised diaspora that have developed commercially successful newspapers to service their informational needs. Some of these titles have been operating for as long as a century, and they greatly extended their reach as they transitioned online. Now, more than ever, they amplify the voice of Ireland and the Irish on the global stage. But we don't know much about these news organisations. We don't know how they represent political, cultural or social developments in Ireland. We don't know how they represent Irishness or what this might mean for our international reputation. And we don't know if the diaspora press in different geographic locations represent Ireland in the same way. So to address these issues, firstly, I've analysed the diaspora news websites themselves and organisations to understand their function as either primary functions as either community journalism or more as transnational news organisations. And then I analysed the news flows from Ireland to the diaspora press. So more than 2,000 news stories are published online in the Irish national newspapers every week. But not all of these stories end up in the diaspora press. Those that are featured are the news flows. Studying news flows is a part of agenda setting theory, and it tells us about the type of content that is regarded as more newsworthy than others in different parts of the world. These news flows can be counted, they can be categorised, they can be organised and analysed by broad news topic or through specific news stories, and these can be compared by location. So just using simple RSS feeds and automated data entry, over 7 months I recorded all of the details of news articles that were published in the diaspora newspapers and in Ireland's national press. And what emerged by comparing these news flows by location was that the amount of attention given to different news categories can be very different depending on where you are. So you can see things like business and social affairs flow at similar levels around the diaspora press, but others such as politics and sport do not. And the same was true when we looked at specific news topics. So, for example, you can see that in the UK, soccer is the most popular topic, while in both Australia and in the USA, it's actually stories about 1916 that were most popular. And this reveals that on multiple levels, that the stories that are told about Ireland in the diaspora newspapers are not the same. But it's not just what's represented, it's how Ireland and the Irish are characterised in these stories that's important to understand. Through selecting case studies that are related to Irish identity, a discourse analysis revealed that there are very different ways of characterising Ireland and the Irish depending on where you are. So for example, in this particular case study, where racist abuse was directed to Michelle Murray, who's curating the Ireland Twitter account at the time, what emerged was that Australia didn't engage with this news story at all. In the USA and in the UK, they did engage with this news story. In the USA, they ignored the Irish element and tended to focus on the issue of trolling. But in the UK in particular, they addressed the Irish as a global group, and they meaningfully engaged with issues of racism in Irish society. By contrast, the Irish national press did not treat the Irish as a global group. They didn't engage with issues of racism in Irish society, and largely blamed it on Irish Americans. By examining multiple case studies, a pattern emerges and of recurring points of tension around certain issues. So usually around Irish history, particularly the famine and the Troubles, but also around other issues such as nationalism, religion, Catholicism and immigration. So why does any of this really matter? Well, UNESCO has stated that balanced news flow is very important for meeting public informational needs, and this is particularly important to be aware of as we discuss the extension of voting rights to the Irish diaspora abroad. Because in the case of Ireland, this research tells us that the news flows are not balanced, and that the diaspora press in the US, UK and Australia are telling different stories about Ireland, and they are not characterising Ireland in the same way. So this is quite important because the public information or diaspora informational needs have to be adequately met to ensure the credibility of the democratic process. I also hope that this research will be able to provide a foundation to guide how public money that goes into diaspora communications will be best utilised. And then on an individual basis, I hope that this research will better enable Irish journalists to be able to contribute to this part of the growing media industry, and also combined, hopefully, enhance the communications between the globally dispersed Irish. Thanks very much for listening.